What are common mistakes in utilizing static space? When it comes to chess, many players wonder about the common mistakes made when utilizing static space. Static space advantage means controlling key squares and territory on the board. This control usually comes from pawn structure and piece placement that does not change quickly. However, simply having this advantage is not enough. Let's break down some common errors players make when trying to use static space effectively. One major mistake is overextending pawns without proper support. Players often push their pawns too far forward to gain space. This can create weaknesses that the opponent can target, allowing them to break into your position. It is essential to ensure that pawns are backed by pieces to maintain their strength. Another common error is neglecting piece coordination. A static space advantage is only useful if your pieces work together to control that space. If you have more space but your pieces are not actively placed, you might waste your advantage. Always aim to have your pieces harmoniously positioned to maximize their effectiveness. Making unnecessary pawn moves in the middle game is also a frequent mistake. Players might move pawns excessively to control more space. However, each pawn move should be purposeful, as pawns cannot move backward and can become liabilities if overextended. Failing to convert space into a time advantage is another issue. A space advantage should be used to create threats that force your opponent to respond. If you do not create active threats, your opponent can regroup and neutralize your space advantage. Ignoring the opponent's counterplay is a mistake many players make. It is important to focus not only on holding space but also on anticipating the opponent's plans. If you do not consider their potential counterattacks, you might find your position compromised. Retaining too many pieces in cramped positions can also hinder your advantage. When you are behind in space, having too many pieces cramped together can be detrimental. Conversely, when you have more space, exchanging pieces can simplify the position and help you exploit your advantage. Lastly, advancing pawns prematurely without a clear plan can backfire. While pawns define static space, advancing them without a strategic goal can weaken your position. Always ensure that pawn moves contribute to a clear plan, such as opening lines or restricting your opponent's pieces. To effectively utilize static space, consider launching alternating threats on different parts of the board. This forces your opponent to divide their defense and creates weaknesses. Trade pieces when you are ahead in space to limit your opponent's maneuverability. Advance pawns only when they are supported by pieces and contribute to your strategic goals. Be patient and avoid rash attempts to break through. Instead, focus on gradually improving your piece placement. By avoiding these common mistakes, you can make the most of your static space advantage and turn it into tangible benefits on the chessboard.